cab is cool when you get inside, but if you want to start back here, and then I'll just walk you around the whole vehicle, you'll actually notice you'll have a motor for every wheel. There's an e-axle with 2 motors, 2 gear reductions, output directly to the wheels themselves. So there's essentially 4 motors, 4 inverters, and 4 gear reductions on the rear of this truck. Each one of these are over 500 horsepower. So this is a 2,000 horsepower truck. Can it really do 0 to 60 in the time I talked about? Yes. It destroys tires and drive lines. So we will be updating the video for everyone that has been asking about that. But these are 500 horsepower each. We will tune that down in production. And one of the cool things we do is we do it all based upon software and GPS. So as the truck is going up a hill, we release more and more horsepower to the inverters. So that way you're never spinning tires, you're only using it when you really need it. In the back here, you'll see independent suspension for every wheel. It's a very smooth ride. It's very similar to a brand new Ford truck. A lot of those are ride independent. This power cabinet in the back, you would not see this in production. This is only for testing. You can take that panel off and I'll show it to you on the other truck. All the systems run to this right now during testing and validation, because on an average day you'll have a dozen or 2 dozen occurrences where you want to push your system to the limit, where you pop your breakers, your switches. There's hundreds of things that can go wrong, and that's where it goes wrong right there. So as soon as it goes wrong, we can pull over, analyze it, figure out how far we can push it, and then we back off it. And we keep doing that until we figure out how to build a truck that won't fail. So in production, all those components, like all the switches, the fusing, everything else will be built into the units. But right now, the easiest thing to do right now is just flip that breaker if it pops. So if you guys come around, let's go around this way. I can't open this right now. There's a hydrogen fill. If I open it, it'll shut the whole truck down for safety. But this is where you fill the hydrogen. The hydrogen tanks are actually built in along with the batteries, and I'll show that to you later today in a tour on the red one. But the tanks, there's actually 9 tanks on this truck. They're built for side impact. To 2 hours to fill it. At work, it would take you like an hour to 2 hours to fill it. So NIKOLA is actually the co-chair of all the protocols around the world for hydrogen and heavy duty fueling. We can now fill a semi-truck in under 15 minutes. We had to rewrite all the protocols, how it's cooled, how it's delivered, what fittings, the nozzle, the communications, the safety, everything. So it's taken us many years to get here, but the station's now capable of topping a semi-truck off in 15 minutes. And we standardized the station so you could get the cost down, just like cell phones. The only way to really get those cell phones cheap is to make a whole bunch of them. At work, it would take you like an hour to 2 hours to fill it. On fuel cell, and we have batteries coming out in the next year as well. So you got both battery electric and hydrogen electric in customers' hands by the end of next year. It's exciting. Yeah, it really is. It's Do you guys want to know what's on? We never put it under propulsion, but it was totally capable of driving. It had power, everything in it, power steering, batteries, all the e-axles, were in it. So the entire thing was designed to, and the group that actually designed all of our e-axles with us in this vehicle was a group that Ford Warner eventually ended up buying. And a guy named Adrian, a super brilliant guy when it comes to e-axle design and development. He was our very first one 5 years ago, is when we started. It was 2016 is when we unveiled this. So this was totally capable of being driven. We pulled all the parts out, displayed them to the public, and we got hit. I think you guys may have seen it. We got hit with an article that said that the truck was a lie and not really a drivable truck. And there's some disgruntled employee that was feeding them fake stuff. Guy named Jonathan, unfortunately. So we, for us, it was really hard for us because we're like, no, it's totally drivable. We just didn't do it for safety. But this is what you would consider a prototype. The one you drove today was like an alpha. That's a newer version of this one. And you'll see the updated version of this one here in a minute. And so a lot of changes have happened to it. As you'll notice, you'll see bigger gaps, in this thing. It really wasn't. This was a buck. So it was the same status of that one. But this was one of the prototypes. We actually drove this one with the military and with customers all the time. Last year at NIKOLA World, we gave drives on the UTV so people could tell that the vehicles were real. This vehicle in production will be out at the end of, somewhere around middle end of next year. So we have both the UTV and the watercraft, the NIKOLA Tray and the NIKOLA 2 all coming out at the end of next year. But only the NIKOLA NZT and the NIKOLA watercraft will be in full production next year until the end of next year, which is the NIKOLA Tray.
Is there other electric watercrafts?
There is one other group doing it, but they're quite a bit different. I think it's called Tiger or something. Yeah. But our battery's a lot. I mean, the one we did is 3 to 4 times the capacity of what theirs is. We're doing like 3 to 4 hours of hardcore riding. It's almost a 30 kilowatt hour battery in it. So it's a whole different ball game compared to what I think theirs is like. I think theirs is under 10. So it's a very, I don't have all the specs on it because I haven't driven theirs. So I could be wrong, you'd have to just research it. But there is one group that's out there driving around with them. But ours comes into full production nationwide. It'll be out next year.
And they're Canadian.
Yeah.
Not as exciting as
kind of gets a little bit more intense as you increase those. You can also change the fans what it's going to for all of them. Close that. Go to here. You see it's reasonably responsive. And under the phone, you can sort of contacts. I mean, pretty much what you would expect.
Reminds me of Tesla.
Okay.
We took a lot of ideas off of what, how they design stuff, and we just made it the way that we felt like we'd want to design. So it's I believe one thing I'm not me personally, I don't like everything to be touched. I still like a couple buttons. I'm actually vying for like our truck to.
Yeah. Well, no one's ever done this in a truck before.
Yeah, there's my phone. Okay. You can also kind of gets a little bit more intense as you
Have kilowatt hour module here. This module will be completely submerged in fluid. The fluid flows in and out. You can see these channels.
And these are your batteries?
These are our batteries. Totally designed in-house at NIKOLA. Printed out of this, one of the biggest ones in the world. It'll do composite and plastic, so you can do actual carbon fiber reinforced plastic. You can print out a whole piece. It comes out really rough, and then you stick it in the machine and you machine it and it becomes perfected. Then you sand it, and that's your part you can use for stamping or for whatever else you want to do. Printed out of this, one of the fifth wheel. So this is the fifth wheel part printed out of here. So when we do the quarter scale or half scale, that's what you use to actually emulate what the fifth wheel looks like. It's pretty cool. Headlights or anything else. Fine parts like lights, light bulbs, anything like that you want to emulate, you do it out of this.
Wow.
And this guy can do it from almost the ground all the way up, so you can do a 10-foot part. You can print a whole car out of this thing in one shot. Example is the fifth wheel.